Hello and welcome back to everyone that's tuned in to the American Ultra Stock channel. Thank you so much for being with us for another week of the Stock Watch, the show where we'll be analyzing the players whose stocks went up or down based on their performances over the weekend and the week as well, since now we got a lot of guys with midweek action. Straight to the point. Before we do that, actually, I wanted to apologize for the scenario today. A bit of a last minute recording right here for me, unfortunate circumstances, but thank you for tuning in regardless. And Braden's going to bring us with the first player that caught his eye. Hopefully it was a positive, or was it a negative, Braden?
Well, I think there's only one player who can start this one out this week, Jedi Robinson. Hopefully soon to be our captain, but Fulham's captain, soon to be a legend for them. Fans are already saying he's the best fullback they've ever had. I think he's well up there to be one of the best players they've ever had. Honestly, I mean, he's absolutely incredible. 2 assists against Liverpool, pocketed Mo Salah. He got an assist, but it wasn't really anything to do with Jedi. So, I think it was all around a fantastic performance from a player who is now firmly in the conversation for not only best left back in the Prem, up there for best left back in the world. I think he's in the conversation now for best USMNT player, especially with Pulisic hitting not necessarily bad form, but cooling off a little bit and now getting hurt. Jedi's always consistent. That's the thing about Pulisic. He seems to have hot and cold streaks, and Jedi's always the same. You always know what you can get from him, which was not the case a couple of years ago. So it's nice that he turned out this way. Maybe the same thing will happen to some of our other players as they progress a little bit, but I think there's nothing but positive things I can say about Jedi Robinson. I mean, we could make a whole video highlighting how incredible he's been this season. It seems like he's a stock up every week now, and it's always well-deserved. He seems to one-up his previous performance every week. I think this was probably the best I've ever seen him play. And now the Liverpool fans are in his IG comments telling him that he belongs at Anfield after that performance there, and he liked a couple of them. So that's definitely going to be one to watch for at least maybe not the January transfer window, but the summer window. If he's going to make a move to a big club, his time is going to have to be now. He's already kind of in the prime of his career at 27, so he's going to have to make a big move if he wants to at all. It's going to have to be very, very soon. So definitely one to keep an eye on there, but honestly, I kind of hope he stays because he's just so consistent with Fulham, and if he can continue upping his leadership there, I think it's only going to benefit us.
Yeah, I will say props to Jedi, because in the past I feel like he was a little absent on the Stock Watch, not because he's bad by any means, but he's so consistent. But the floor of his performances have always stood at a good level. Now it seems like the ceiling is increasing a little bit, and that's really nice to see. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of January transfer windows, but there's a league title there up for grabs for Liverpool, and I will say I don't think I'm being delusional by saying he would start for them. I think he's better than Tsimikas by a country mile, and he's better than Robertson right now with the form that he's in right now. He seems like to be a little bit of a shell of himself. So honestly, that one, although I'm not a fan of January transfers, it could happen. And going from one big name to another right here right after, I have Reyna. It's another stock up right here. It's very funny that we made a video about Gio, and I'm happy that we both stuck by the statement that he should stay. Try to make something happen out of this season at Dortmund, better than trying to seek a loan somewhere else. And I'm happy that he got another chance today, and wow, a nice goal for him to score. Not only because of the goal, again, I always say this is because the goal everyone's going to watch, but I feel like he was very present, involved in the match. And although some things didn't really come off, it's nice to see that he's getting into action a little bit more. I don't know if I just haven't seen him lately, but he looked like to be a little bit more immersed with the play everywhere. Still not going to be the workhorse type of player, but to get that goal, that's going to do him the world of confidence. Hopefully he gets some form going, more consistent minutes for Dortmund, proving again the allegations from Donovan and Lalas. They didn't say directly, I saw some comments saying that. They didn't say that, but they were indicating that the best career path for him would be to go to MLS. That kind of shuts it down, doesn't it? So hopefully he keeps it going. It would be amazing to have him hitting a really, really good patch of form before the next camp, since he hasn't had one with Poch, and I think that will be, I'm very curious to see how he would suit into that play style that we have now. But up to the next one, Braden, who do you have for us?
Yeah, I'm so happy that Reyna's finally back, getting his first 2 starts of the season this week, scoring that goal. So even if he was a little bit quiet, I think in the first half it didn't matter because he came out with a bang right out of halftime. And I mean, if he's in form, there's going to be real competition with Malik Tillman, as long as, of course, Tillman can actually turn up for the national team. But we'll see what happens there. For my next pick, it's going to be a stock down after 2 great highs. I'm going to shine a light on, I think, one of the most unfortunate situations over the past few weeks. It's going to be your boy Tanner Tessman. I just don't think, looking at it now, he made the right move to go to Lyon. And it's not that he doesn't have the quality to fit in there. I feel like every time he gets an extended run, it's usually in the Europa League, granted, but I think he fits in very solidly. He always does his part. But for whatever reason, the last few weeks, and I mean, especially this week was the catalyst of everything, he just hasn't really been playing. In the game against Nice to kick off December, he didn't get off the bench. They had a game a week later against Angers, which they were up 3-0, and he only played 8 minutes off the bench. Then midweek this week against Frankfurt, who I don't remember which one of us did, but one of us picked him as a player to watch because he played Frankfurt, he played PSG. It was looking like he'd probably start in one of them because that's usually what happens when they have Europa League. He gets that chance. It would have been a great opportunity for him to start against one of the best clubs in the Bundesliga right now, but he only gets 9 minutes off the bench. In credit to Lyon, though, they did win the game 3-2, but still disappointing there, and then didn't play a single minute against PSG. I'm just really disappointed with how the situation is going. I mean, we all know, if we can remember back to the summer, how messy the transfer saga was with all the different clubs that wanted him and the moves to Inter and Fiorentina breaking down because of his agents. I mean, I think his agents just royally screwed up for him in all aspects. I mean, we knew that at the time, but Lyon looked good then. They're not looking so good now. Of course, there's the whole potential provisional relegation thing that might happen if Textor doesn't pay off the 100 million debt or whatever. I just think it's all around a bad situation to be in. I don't know if I'd be so drastic as to say he needs to leave in the summer, but I think he needs to figure out something where he can get consistent minutes. I still believe that he could be a key player for Lyon in the future, but I would have liked it to be this season, and it's just not so far.
Completely agree, and I think that it's particularly puzzling because Matic is not getting any younger, and he's not shining the world a light either when he plays. But yeah, I think that he should leave. Honestly, I was never really a fan of the move to begin with. Hopefully, he gets more minutes so he can go somewhere. I think Lyon's going to have an exodus, even if they do stay. I don't think they'll be relegated, but the club is just a mess. Now, on to my negative right here is going to be Brandon Vazquez. I watched the game when he played against America, and it's not only because of the game. We see the links with the San Jose Earthquakes. 2 years ago, we were looking at this exact moment in time and looking at rumors to Mönchengladbach, rumors to Union Berlin. Now he's getting rumored to the Earthquakes, arguably one of the worst teams in MLS. And the saddest part is it's also kind of fitting with the way that he's been playing. Got a start there, and it just looks like he's just a very limited player to play at the highest level. I don't think his skill set translates when he plays against better defenders. A little bit one-dimensional as well. A bit of a one-trick pony, really. So sad to see, but it wouldn't surprise me if he leaves Monterrey. I don't think that looking into the Club World Cup, he's going to get to play at that competition next year. So yeah, stock down for Vazquez because, wow, the trajectory on the past 2 years has been disastrous, really. So kind of sad with that one, but hopefully have some brighter news for us on the next one.
Yeah, it is going to be good news for our next pick, but before I move on to that, I want to give a shout out to Alejandro Zejas, since you brought up the subject of the Liga MX final. I mean, he played in both legs, got a goal and assist in the first one, another assist in the second one, helped them bring home the trophy, huge part. I think his ship to Europe has probably sailed by now, unfortunately, but it's still nice seeing him for one of the biggest clubs in North America shining. It seems to be every week, so I want to give him a little bit of a shout out there. But onto my pick, it's going to be a stock up, and it's going to be Weston McKennie coming back from injury and be back with a bang. I mean, it could have been Weah in this spot as well because he got the assist, but I think overall McKennie had a better game. And even if you look at the goal, the finish and the initial ball to Weah was way better than what Weah did. I mean, it was a good cross, I guess, but the first one was blocked, and then the second one was a little bit behind McKennie. But I mean, it led to that excellent finish. So reminiscent of his goal against Barcelona, 4 years ago, almost to the day. Really, it was kind of incredible. And the fact that it came against two massive clubs, basically the same exact goal, I think it's really funny, honestly. And it was cool to see McKennie and Weah do the celebration together as well. That was a nice moment. It was actually the first goal in Champions League history to be scored and assisted by an American. So huge milestone. I mean, last week we had the PSV one where we had 3 Americans scoring in the same game in the league. Now this week we have in the Champions League for Juve. It seems like, I mean, hopefully every week we set a new milestone. It's a really bright sign for the future and where our program in general is headed. But overall, McKennie back with a bang, and he got the start over the weekend as well. I thought he was okay. Didn't do anything to lose his spot necessarily. We'll have to see what happens going into next week. But I think overall, definitely deserving of a stock up, coming back from injury and really making an impact.
Yeah, it was really cool to watch both of them doing the celebration. And I think things are looking a little bit better for Juve in general, so that's nice as well. Although this week was ridiculous, really, to get that result against Venezia. But moving on to my next pick right here, it's going to be Nathaniel Brown. I don't know if this is getting noticed by a lot of people, but this is a dual national that, again, although we have Jedi at a complete league of his own at the moment, we on that backup spot, we don't really have someone that we know can be close to his level. We have some players that could potentially get there someday, but I think that Brown has already surpassed them, to be honest. And getting a goal contribution, huge for him. I don't know if it's his first of this year, but really impressive throughout the play. I think he's assisted before, and really nice for him to get that. And I think that it's a player that really should be maybe called up. I don't know if if we can even sway him. I predict that at some point he's going to get called up by Germany. It's looking more likely. And I don't know that if he would be the type of player to settle for us because he's young. So, and you never know. Maybe he gets opportunities with them. But I think it's worthy and to at least shine a light on him. A lot of people are not really keeping an eye on him. So I think it's important to bring that up. A player that definitely should be called up if Poch is more inclined to doing some recruiting for us. That would be a huge recruitment for the next decade, perhaps. So I think it's important to pick him right here. Now, who do you have up next?
Yeah, I mean, he already has 5 goal contributions on the season for the third place team in the Bundesliga, despite getting left out of their Europa League squad at the beginning of the year. I don't know what they were thinking then, but I mean, every opportunity he's got, he's taken, and I think it's not even close to an argument that he's easily our second best left back. Some people are even saying he could challenge Jedi. I think that's a little bit premature, but he's like 5 years younger. So in the future, if we do somehow get him to switch, we're gonna have the left back spot all secured for the next decade or so. But on to my next pick. It's going to be, unfortunately, another stock down coming from the same league as Nathaniel Brown. It's going to be Leonard Maloney. Over the midweek in the conference league, he was experimented with a position that a lot of USMNT fans think that maybe he could be experimented with. I think we've both also advocated for that potentially being tried. He played as a center back against Istanbul Başakşehir. Didn't really go amazing, to be honest. They lost the game 3-1. He didn't look great. Also had to come off early with an injury to his head that caused him to miss the game over the weekend. So just really not a good turn of events. Not playing in his regular position, not having a good performance, getting hurt. Just really everything going bad for Leonard Maloney recently. There's also been a lot of rumors that he could be leaving the club I don't think it's going to be January, but in the summer. I think his contract might expire. Either that or he'll have 1 year left. It looks like he's going to be leaving. There has been interest from other Bundesliga clubs. I think Prem as well. I think he actually suits the Prem, even though he's not that technical of a player. There's the physicality that he has, I think, would be really helpful. Another reason why maybe he should be tried at center back, despite the performance over the midweek. But overall, I mean, it's unfortunate because I really like the effort he puts in every game. I mean, you can never doubt the guy's mentality, but I think unfortunately things are not going well. And his little purple patch that he had last season, or all of last season, really just wasn't enough really to get him into the USMNT squad as a regular. And now with Poch, it doesn't look like he'll maybe even be called up at all.
Yeah, it's really sad to see. Everything has been going so terrible for him, and not only because of outside circumstances, the performances just aren't really there. Maybe the uncertainty on his future plays a part. I don't know, but I don't know if a move even is the best thing for him. But moving on right here to my next player, is going to be a stock down on Brian Reynolds. For whatever reason, I always like to tune into the Westerlo matches. It's easy also if you have the service of a VPN. It's easy to just watch the game entirely back, and always try to keep an eye out for Yao, as I think he's a very promising guy. But Reynolds, absolutely atrocious, horrible match. He got subbed out. It gets to a point where you have a right back that was the biggest signing of the club's history, and you think that, wow, they really like this guy. Maybe they can build around. They started the season really well. I think they're back into what is normalcy for them. They'll just be around mid-table, which is a big improvement from last year. I don't think they'll battle against relegation in that really weird league format. But I also thought it was really bad, just building from the back. Some good recoveries. There were 2 very impressive slide tackles, but after he messed up initially, and you have possession, you get a pass wrong, and then you save it with a slide tackle, clearing it for a throw in. It's still a bad play. They gained a lot of space into your own field. I just think that for Reynolds, I don't think he should be in the picture. I still see some people saying that they don't like Scally. I understand that Scally is limited. That's fair to say, but he's worlds ahead of Brian Reynolds in every single aspect, in my opinion. It's not just because Reynolds sucks at defending or he's good at attacking that he'd be better than Scally. I still think Scally is clear on all of them. Just really disappointed with his performance. That was very harsh from Reynolds. My bad, Brian, but it is what it is. Who do you have up next for us, Braden?
Yeah, there's also another right back that has gotten called up recently in the same league that's better than Brian Reynolds, of course, Marlon Fossey. So hopefully he gets another chance soon. But my final pick is going to be a stock up, and it's, besides Jedi, I think, probably the most impressive one of the weekend. Absolute masterclass from Damian Downs in his first Cologne start in 2 months. I don't really know what they've been doing with him, to be honest. I think he had a small injury a while back, and then since then he's never really got his starting spot back. To start the season before he got hurt, he was always in the starting lineup every single game, and he finally got his chance now. After scoring a few goals off the bench, scored his 7th goal of the season, got his first assist of the season, and drew a penalty that was converted by one of his teammates, all within the first half. Incredible performance, and it wasn't like any of them were lucky either. Just 3 excellent plays. He was so good. Cologne are now, I think, 2nd in the Zweite Bundesliga, the 2nd tier of Germany, looking like they could go straight back up. Of course, they were relegated last season, despite some heroics by Damian Downs at the end of the year. I think it's a really good opportunity for him, just playing week in, week out for one of the best teams in that division. Similar story to Santiago Castaneda, similar age as well. And honestly, with the striker situation we have now, Sargent's injured, Balogun's injured, Pepe's a lock, of course. But I mean, Brandon Vasquez was the other one getting called up because Haji Wright's also injured. I'd much rather have Damian Downs than Brandon Vasquez in camp, especially since he has also been with Germany's U20s recently. He seems to be consistently with them. And just a reminder, we had this guy in our clutches. He was in an Olympic camp, and then for some reason we decided to not only bring Duncan Maguire over him, but also Johan Gomez, who's playing in the same division and I believe has 1 goal contribution all season, 1 assist. So good for Johan Gomez. It's absolutely stinking it up for Eintracht Braunschweig. We brought him as an alternate over Damian Downs. Now he's back to Germany's youth teams. I think it's still pretty realistic that we get him in the long run, but it's just not nice to see, really. I think it's honestly a shame that our next camp isn't until March, our next real one, because if there was one now, I think it'd be the perfect opportunity to call him up. But I mean, if he keeps performing like this, maybe he'll pass guys like Sargent soon enough anyway.
Yeah, and I think we both touched on the point of maybe integrating youth that has a lot of upside potential in the future, even if they won't really play, as opposed to a guy like Cowell. Call up a Campbell instead of Cowell. Downs for Vasquez, why not, honestly? And even if Sargent is available, there could be an argument that he hasn't done enough to warrant another call-up for the time being. I would experiment with a guy like this since he has a lot of potential. So really good shout. I'll definitely tune in to see how he did that because I didn't really catch an eye. So I encourage you guys as well. My next stock up is one that I'm really happy about, Mark McKenzie. Really good win for them. Although I will say Toulouse, really difficult for them to score. I don't know. I haven't checked the stats, but it just seems like it's so hard for them to score and create any chances. Not the best of clubs. I really don't know how many goals they've scored, but everything looks so difficult to come out. So the back needs to be sharp, and sharp he was. I think McKenzie playing a little bit almost as a left center back, as a left back sometimes. He plays on the left side, but with the way they are going forward, they need to throw everyone in the kitchen sink to try to score a goal. Things I'm not exaggerating, really. It is so difficult for Toulouse to get any goals, and he's asked a lot of things are asked of him. He has to recover a lot, be good on the ball, and he was very sharp. And I like that he keeps it simple, doesn't try too much. I think Ream at times now we see him trying a little bit too much to distribute. I like players that know their limitations, and I don't think McKenzie's bad on the ball by any means, but I don't mind a guy just passing it backwards or even giving it to the keeper if he's under pressure. So really good performance for him, helping his club to a win. And also, he wasn't involved in the goal with some crazy, ridiculous contribution and way for people to blame him. So that's also positive. You need luck on your side, and I think for a lot of times, luck hasn't been on his side. So I'll give him a stock up. If he keeps this up, I think it's fair to say him and Richards should be the starting center backs for us. And if we look a year ago, nobody would have said this. I don't think anybody would have said this. So props to McKenzie there. Now on to the ones that we'll tell you guys to keep on your watch for the week. Who do you have for us, Braden? As we keep in mind as well, one is mainstream, the other one not so much. Who do you got?
Yeah, just a stat to back you up there. Outside of the bottom 5 teams in Liga, Toulouse have the least goals scored out of, I guess, the top 13. Not necessarily good, but McKenzie is helping them a lot defensively. And since you mentioned Chris Richards, I'll give him a quick shout out, him and his partner. Congrats to them. They just had a kid. That's why he missed the game against Brighton. So huge achievement for them. I don't know, incredible. Stock up for his family, I guess. But to keep an eye on this week, I'm actually going to pick 2 keepers. One of them is going to be Chris Richards' teammate now for the time being, Matt Turner. It's kind of rare that we get to mention him in Stock Watch because his stock is the same, right? He's going to be the USMNT starting keeper regardless because there's no other options. And he never plays, so he can't get a stock up or a stock down. He's just kind of in purgatory, right? But his one appearance of the season was in the Carabao Cup, and he does get to play his former club, Arsenal, in the Carabao Cup this coming week, midweek. They also play Arsenal in the league on Saturday, which is interesting. Obviously, he's not going to play that one, but I think he might get a chance in the Cup, especially against a club who, credit to their fans, honestly, because even though he wasn't the greatest at times, they still love him. I think that's one nice thing about Arsenal fans. They seem to really support all of their former players, no matter how good or bad they are. But I'm just decided to take the chance, put him on the stock watch. We'll see how he does against a very high-quality opposition, of course. And then the sleeper pick is going to be arguably a more intriguing one. Jonathan Klinsmann for Cesena in Serie B. They're currently 5th. They also have a cup game, and it's against Atalanta, the team who are top of Serie A, which is like 20-something spots ahead in the pyramid of Cesena. Hopefully he starts in the game. Hopefully they don't play their backup keeper. I have a feeling since it's such a high-profile match, they're going to play their starters. I mean, if he has a good performance against them, even if he's playing at a low level in Serie B, it shows that he can compete. And, I mean, obviously we don't have the greatest of backup keeper situations. I would take an informed Klinsmann over Ethan Horvath sitting on the bench with Cardiff City in the championship right now. I'm just saying that. So keep an eye on that performance, see how he does against Atalanta. Realistically, he'll probably concede like 7 goals, but watch it anyway. Hope for the best, but I think it's going to be interesting for our mid keepers, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that needs to get more of a look by a lot of the fan base. And I will say, they're very good. Italian clubs are very good at just locking up, and that's why you don't see many crazy score lines at any level, at any match. So hopefully he has a good one. He needs to have a good match for them to have any chance of going through. Now, you mentioned it's a Cup week, Coppa Italia. I'll mention another Coppa Italia game right here. It's going to be for Weah. This weekend performance against Venezia, I think, was very lackluster from him as well. But he has been playing well. We'll say it's fair to say he solidified his spot in Juve's, even the fans' opinions as well. Now, last year, he scored an absolute banger in the Coppa Italia against Salernitana. This time, he's going to play against the most hated club in Italy by everyone, supporters, other fans, analysts, fans from abroad, Cagliari. And I think it'll serve them right if he scores against them. So I'll definitely keep him on my stock watch. I think it's also a competition that Juve could try to win a trophy. They won it last time. They're the reigning champions. I think it could be another chance for them. I think the league is a little bit difficult, a bit of turmoil throughout the season, but they are on an upwards trajectory. So I'll definitely keep an eye out on that one and cheer him and McKennie on if he plays as well. And then the other one on the sleeper pick is going to be Griffin Yao. It's really sad to see what happened. I thought he was one of the most lively players throughout the Olympics. Had some rumors over the summer, but had his light injury. Maybe that came into play and why he didn't move. Not entirely sure, but every time he's on for Westerlo, he does well. They are a very limited club in terms of quality. It is a low level, but I think it's another mid-table clash where he can shine. He got, I think, a 2 starts out of the last 4, scored in one of them. Today off the bench, looked really good, making things happen. Who will probably start in this match since they're doing some rotation. and I back him to score. I think he's a really good player. Hopefully he gets a move at some point, and he needs to do it well. Now is the time to get some hype, catch on some fire, hopefully move as soon as possible. I'm not a fan of January transfers, but if you're leaving Westerlo, I'm definitely a fan of that. So no shade to them, but I think it's time for him to get a step up. So let us know in the comments below what you thought of this week of action. A lot of huge names, high-profile names, and also ones to watch as well. So let us know who you'll be watching, what you thought of our picks. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you on the next time.